Hello everyone, it's Daz, and this week's discussion is inspired by a current event and also an extension of the last discussion on wildlife adaptations to changes in urbanization, deforestation, and how plant life is affected in response to such changes. The story is that a man hunting in South Africa was targeting a rhino, but was killed by an elephant and then consumed by a lion. Such stories caused me to think about how oftentimes humankind is at the top of the food chain, but there are times when animals fight back. And I'm not a fan of poaching, and I will say that I believe that as wildlife continues to see humans encroach upon their land, they have to adjust to these sorts of changes. This means coexisting with them. We've seen that many of them are acting nocturnal, whereas previously they would not, to avoid humans. We see them moving into urban areas, like coyotes in Boca Raton. I believe there were coyotes out in Chicago that were sighted, and we're going to continue to see an increase in that. Another thing that I see with wildlife adapting is among plants, and you may have seen this near you. My dad does landscaping, and we were having this discussion about how you never want to plant a tree too close to your home that's going to have large roots, because those roots could grow into your basement. And I see his point, because I've seen before even some homes where the plants begin to grow along the side of the home. It's almost like a plant is growing through the home. And usually this happens to old abandoned homes, but still, wildlife has to find a way to coexist, and sometimes it's through encroaching upon human habitats. Something else that I've thought more about with all of this is the fact that deforestation is complicating earthquakes, their aftermath, flooding, and mudslides. And what I mean by this is that forests, which once occupied half of the Earth's landmass, now cover less than 1/10. Each year, 130,000 square kilometers of the world's forest are destroyed. Trees and foliage help block or slow down boulders and rocks falling from dangerous quakes. Another problem is that without trees in the pathway of infrastructure, it can lead to great damage. An example of this is Haiti, where they only have 1% of their forest left. With flooding, plants, trees, foliage, shrubs often absorb a majority of the water from rainfall. However, when it's gone, the water just pools on the ground, which fills up valleys and gullies. In Iran, deforestation contributed to the deadly floods, which killed 70, and we're seeing the same problem in Asia. In the United States alone, mudslides cause 25 to 60 deaths a year, and I believe this number is going to continue to grow. I did not mention this in the video that I did on flooding, but the California drought is officially over. With that being said, a new risk presents itself: mudslides. Mudslides, which are wet landslides, usually occur on steep slopes stripped of vegetation. When heavy rains, earthquakes, or volcanoes destabilize them, debris, rocks, and earth flow or rush down the slopes, sometimes at a high speed, gathering a wet mass rising as high as 30 feet. Mudslides can completely bury buildings or cover villages. So these are all concerns that I have with the stripping away of forests, and there are many other problems that present themselves. I have been going out and walking and enjoying the forest in my immediate area, and we have a nature reserve, which I'm very thankful for. But I think about how much of it has been chopped down, and it's nice to see new infrastructure, but I also think there's a way to expand without necessarily getting rid of so many trees. There are some efforts for afforestation or reforestation where trees are being planted in urban areas, but it'd be interesting to see what follows in the future. I'm also interested to see what happens with animals in the wild if we see more cases of them fighting back against poachers. I'm not a big fan of death, but I will say that I wasn't too upset that that elephant ended up having its way with that poacher, since already rhinos are an endangered species, and I hate animal poaching and trafficking of wildlife. But I'd like to know what you guys' thoughts are on these subjects, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, and God bless.